Page 32, She Loves You, a Beatles song. This is in the key of E flat major, 3 flats. Let's go over it carefully. It has some really tricky stuff going on here. A lot of hand movements you got to watch out for. At the beginning, in the right hand, you have the 8th note pickup. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then immediately they give you a bass clef for the half note. So immediately you have to come down here. Fingering is up to you. 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 4, whatever is easier for you. And considering what's coming up after this, at 1, 3, 5 is probably the best choice if you can, because that way you can do another 1, 3, 5 and then a 1, 2, 4. The idea isn't so much to connect the notes as it is to try and make it so the hand isn't moving around so much, so you don't have to look down so much. You will have to look down quite a bit because your hand's going to be moving around, like that first full measure there. You're up here and immediately here. You might have to practice going from that E flat to that E flat. Blah. So good luck on that one, but you're here. And then they give you another treble clef, so you do it all again. Down again. Do it again. Now different chord at the bottom now. When you get to the second line, first measure, the half note is here. Again, 2, 3, 5 is fine if you want. Their fingering is good. You can use their fingering. And then at the end of the line, they give you bass or treble clef back again, so you're here. And this fingering is all right. It's 4 and then 1. Try and connect this if you can. It's a little awkward because you got this G, but and there's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Bring out the melody if you can, the top note. And the last line. Now you see the dotted slurs? That's because of the words. They have to accommodate multiple verses because there's 3 verses to this thing. I'll get to that in a minute. But when you do the first verse, you need both of those 8th notes because there's a word for each note. So you don't use the ties then, you play them both. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to, but on the other verses, there's no word for that, so you tie it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why they're dotted like that. They do that a lot when there's words involved with the music and you have to accommodate multiple verses. Because I need a note for each of the syllables or words, for the most part, that I'm going to sing. There's exceptions, we won't go there, but you understand hopefully why those dotted lines are there. It's the words. Now let's go up to the top of page 33, because we're coming off of the B flats at the bottom of page 32, and then here that fingering is good because you're in this position, you're just using it. Then we'll come down. Now watch the bottom voice here, the B flat, that's tied, so hang on to it. It'll be like a dotted half note here and here. Rest. And I recommend for the half notes toward the end of the first line, 1, 5, 1, 4, and 1, 3. The melody. That's what I want. I want to feel it. And then come down, second line, C flat. And the second measure, they're saying a 1 on the A flat. Yeah. You can do a 2, and then a 2, 3, and then a 3, 5, and then a 2, 5. Or yeah. Just hold on to the B flat. And then up here for the chord, ooh, this is where you get to shake it. Ooh, ooh, that's where they do that. Then you'd repeat back over. Let's go on though. You have at the end of the second line on page 33, you have a 1, 2. That's first and second ending. So if you're singing the verses, the first 2 times you go through it, you take that ending. And then you repeat. And then the third time, when you're doing the last verse, when you get over to page 33, you skip that ending and you do the third ending, which is the third line. It has a 3 there. And it's the same chord. So let's go on down to the third line there on page 33. We're here. And then going on, for the 8th note, I recommend a 3, and then a 1, 2, 4, and then a 2, 4, 5. The chord is this. All of them. All the notes in the second measure in the right hand is here. That's my fingering for it, so I can catch it all in one hand position. I'm just using the third finger on the B flat. And then their next measure on the E flat, G, C, I recommend a 4 on the C. And the third, now they tell you third finger. That's handy. 4th line down, 1, 2, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and then for the 8th notes you can jump up and do a 3 again. You got time is between a phrase, you can, or just play the first one with the third finger, and then 3, 5. Next measure, C flat. Next measure, A flat, G flat. And then 1, 4, hold the A flat down, 3 on the E flat. Last measure, 2, 5, 1, 4. Last line, 4th finger's fine if you want, or you can do that. The 2, 3, 5 fingering on the second measure, or the 1, 2, 5. I'll leave that up to you, but just make sure you get the C flat in. And then the 4th finger on the 8th note. Again, an A flat, G flat for the third measure over. And hold the A flat down, they're half notes. And then a 1, 4 for the F. 3, and then the last measure is fine. Now you can't hold down the G for the whole measure because you need to come up here to play this chord. The pedal will do it for you, but hold it down as long as you can until you move. And that's the right hand. The left hand mainly is just harmony and rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it starts here. It's playing the same thing as the right hand. And then it goes down here. You're moving both hands here. Here. Both hands at the same time, and you got no time, so you just have to practice going from here, whatever fingering you're using, down to here. And then back up. You got A flats in the left hand. Up again. Now F's in that left hand. Now, let's get this rhythm out of the way. I'm going to go, I mean, it's all over the place. I'm going to go to the second measure, the second line. It's here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and next measure 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. It's just all over the place. Get the rhythm down, you're fine, because the right hand has other rhythms. So, you know how putting the hands together works. And for the most part, that is the left hand. I mean, you got a few little things, but I don't see anything tricky I really need to point out. At the very end, at the bottom of page 33 in the last measure, you're here, and then the last note has an 8 VA under it, you go down here. If your keyboard's big enough. If not, then you go down as low as you can go, and that's it. This is a love song, believe it or not, but this is a happy, boisterous love song. This is like, you know, it's... And now you're going to start coming down a little bit, getting a little softer toward the end of the second line. And that rhythm between the two hands, the last two measures, second line, 1 and 2 and 3. See, the right hand has a rest. You come up. 1 and 2 and 3, and hold the left hand down. It's a half note. You should play that. And then the last measure is 1 and 2 and 3. The last measure is tricky. 1 and 2. And now you start. Thing is about medium loud for the melody. I'm playing the left hand way too loud because I like that left hand. I just know. But bring the left hand down. So, third line. So, continuing on to the fourth line is here. Top of page 33, look out, here. And then you'd repeat all of that again. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's go on. Third line down on page 33. And 1, 2, and 3. Now, dynamic wise, when you get the second line on page 33, it says to increase, to get louder. So at the beginning of the line, still medium loud. Now you come up, and this thingy, that's like, oh goodly, good. Oh, I won't go into detail here, but yeah. So let's go on down to the third line. We're still on this magical O. And now we're back to the regular. So starting at the first of the line. Get all that? Accented. You can separate them a little bit. The pedal's going to smear it, but you can at least feel it. Now there's a dim at the end of the fourth line down there. Because you crescendoed at the first measure of that fourth line here. Now come back down a little bit. And then the last line. Accent them, but you didn't get louder. This is like a sort of an echo or an afterthought. Just it's like the same intensity, but not as loud, I guess. And then there's a retardando in the last measure. I'll leave that up to you, how loud you do that. And while you hold that down, you come here. And then you hold the last beat down until you think you're done, and then you lift up. And that's basically the piece. And then when you get all that learned and you can sort of play it, sort of. I shouldn't say that as a teacher. I should say when you get all that down and you can play it like it's written, well, we both know how that's going to work. When you can sort of play it. Then we add the pedal. I don't add the pedal yet because as I'm working on it, I want to hear all these notes and all these chords and all these other inner voices going on. And the pedal covers that up. So now we're going to add the pedal. So at the beginning, you're reinforcing these chords, these accented chords at the beginning. So don't pedal this part. That's by itself. And there's a little silence between this note and this note. So don't push the pedal down until you hit this note. And you can, if you want, push the pedal down with the note because it's accented. We can release the overtones immediately. Experiment, or push the pedal down right after you play the note. Start the note first and then release the overtones. And because they're accented, I don't have a problem with slightly separating the notes. They're showing legato pedal here, and you'll experiment. Which do you like better? Do you want them separated? Or do you want legato pedaling? That's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. And then the rest of this, the first two lines is basically the same thing. I mean, most of the, you have coming down here, you're getting softer as you're doing this. And lift the pedal up before you play the last note in the last measure, the second line here. A little silence there. And third line, they're legato pedaling this. I think that makes it mushy. It's easy pedaling, you don't have to think about it too much, but I think I would prefer to pedal it every 2 beats and get out some of the mushiness at least. So the third line, if I pedal it every 2 beats, is this. And at the end of the third line, I would lift the pedal up before I play that 8th note, so I can hear the rest in the right hand. The top of page 33, I would not pedal the last beat of the first measure here. The first line, if I pedal it the way they're showing, it's this. I finally do pedal it every 2 beats, but I would pedal the first measure, the first 3 beats is fine. And then I'd lift it up for the 3rd beat. And then the next measure every 2 beats. And then their pedaling is fine. Second measure, here you can pretty much pedal it, but I'd still pedal it every 2 beats. Except the 3rd measure's the whole thing, that's fine. Last measure, I would lift the pedal up with the right hand so I hear a rest in the right hand. There. Now let's go on to the 3rd line here. Same thing, I'd lift the pedal up on beat 4. Now here, 2nd measure, you can pedal the whole line, the whole measure. And the next measure, pedal it like they say to. Or the last measure, pedal just like they're saying to on the 3rd line. The last 3 measures you can pedal it like they're saying to, so it's here. 4th line, just like they're saying to. Again. See, now they're kind of telling you to pedal it the way I've been telling you to pedal it. I mean, okay. And on the last measure of that line, I would not pedal the first beat. So I don't want to catch this. I don't want all of that. So don't pedal it until you play that. So it's... And hang on to it into the last line, first measure, and then lift it up for the 8th notes. And if you want to bring out the accents, you can pedal with each note so we get a little silence. I'll leave that up to you. And that's how you pedal it. So, you don't have to play it as fast as I just did. The moderato, again, you find recordings of this, and it kind of depends on the mood you're in.